isn't. And what it is an affirmative yes, not the absence of a no. Now, I want to just give the context. Obviously, we've been focused on fixing the basics in law and order so that people feel safe in their communities. And the way that we measure progress is reducing the number of victims of crime, particularly violent and sexual offending. And the good news is we are making progress, and we've done a lot in this area. So New Zealanders, too many New Zealanders are victims of sexual offending, far too many. So what we've done is sent a clearer message through the Sentencing Act to denounce sexual offending. So we've brought back 3 strikes. We've reduced the number of discounts that judges can offer in sentencing. We've also criminalised stalking behaviour, which people have talked about for a long time, and we've actually done. We've also changed the name suppression laws so that people convicted, or adults convicted of sexual offences can't get permanent name suppression without the consent of the victims. So we've done all that, and we've also announced that a returned national government will change or drop having any discounts for good behaviour for people convicted of sexual offences, because we don't think that's right. Now today we're moving on to the matter of consent. So in our laws at the moment, the Crimes Act defines what consent isn't, and there's a list of those things, but it doesn't actually state what it is. So that's what we're proposing to change, so that we make it clear that consent is a clear affirmative yes, either by words or by actions. And this will bring us into line with the United Kingdom, which has done this about 20 years ago, and some Australian states as well. And it reflects the need, it really reflects that what we've been teaching our kids now for a long time, which is to say, before sex, you need to have a clear yes, not just silence. So we want to change the law so that it reflects that as well. I want to make the point that we're not changing the fundamental burden of proof when it comes to sexual offending, because obviously a conviction for rape or sexual violation has a maximum penalty of 20 years, and so it is absolutely appropriate that there should be a high a burden of proof on the part of the prosecution to prove that consent wasn't given or it wasn't reasonably understood, and secondly that it has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. So we're not making any changes to that.
Minister, this was an issue before the last Parliament, and there was some consensus amongst the major parties. Why have you not acted on this during this term?
Well, as I've sort of outlined, we've done a huge amount in this area over this year. The poor old Justice Committee has been the busiest committee in government for the last 3 years, and we've really focused on particularly that sentencing reform. Now what we're saying is that we've made a lot of progress, but there's more to do. And so people have been calling for this for years, including my Chief Victims Advisor, and we're indicating that we will do that in the next term.
Do you think you've been too slow, given there was political consensus before?
No, I think we've been extremely busy in the justice space and very focused on fixing the basics in law and order, and this is part of the project.
Labour says that there was a consensus and everybody was just about to agree, and then National walked away from the talks, and then all of a sudden they're coming up with this exactly same policy. I mean, are you playing politics with the consent laws?
Absolutely not. This is a serious matter, and of course Labour had 6 years in government and they didn't get round to dealing with this. We have got on to, like I said, the stalking legislation, and if we get a second term we'll get on to this.
But they were talking in the last months with you, and then you walked away. That's what they said. Did you?
No, we haven't walked away at all. Not at all. And in fact, my colleague Vanessa Wienick has put a bill in the members' bill relating to this as well. And so, but we're very keen to get this change done.
But this is exactly what Labour and the other parties are wanting to say as well. So are you just getting in early?
Well, the reality is that Labour and the Greens were, they were in government for 6 years. They didn't do it. We are going to do it.
Minister, what is how serious is the problem that this change will fix?
Well, sexual violence in New Zealand is an extremely serious problem, and there are tens of thousands of people every year, according to the surveys, who are a victim of sexual violence in some way or form. And so we all want to ensure that, particularly women, are much more likely to be victims of sexual offending, are safe in this country. So huge challenge. So this change is not going to dramatically change that overnight, but it is sending a clear signal and aligning the legislation with what we're teaching our kids, which is you need an affirmative yes, not just the absence of a no.
I have to come back to the first question. Given it is, as you've just said, such a serious problem, shouldn't you have addressed it before now?
Well, look, I just make the point that we're working steadily through many areas of legislative change, and we've been extremely busy this first term. We've got a lot done, and there's more work to do, which is why, fundamentally, we've had 3 years, but we need longer.
Just to clarify, does a wife always then have to say yes to a husband or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. The point is that it should be an affirmative yes each and every time, and to be clear about that. Now, and like I say, it can be in words or it can be in actions.
Labour's Camilla Bellick has a draft youth bill on this. Supposedly they sought, as we've been discussing, bipartisan support from the National Party. How is this policy different from Camilla's?
Well, if re-elected, I'll certainly be tasking the Ministry of Justice with a full policy process on this, with broad consultation, because this is an important issue to get right. Yes, there's been draft members' bills, and there's, like I say, a national members' bill in the ballot already. But this is an important area of law that you need to get right, and so I'll be tasking my officials, if re-elected, to do a full policy process.
But how is it different?
Well, getting words matter in legislation, very much so. And so what
was wrong with hers then?
I'm not going into the details. Look, they were in government for 6 years. They didn't do it. We're in government, and we've done an enormous amount. And I've listed through all the work that we've done to send a very clear denunciation of sexual violence, and this is the next step.
How's it going to play out in real life? Like, people are probably still going to do it, even though, they may have said no.
Well, the law is clear. If somebody says no and another person carries on, then that's against the law. And but what we're trying to demonstrate here is that for a long time now, we've been educating our kids, saying that before you have sex, there needs to be a clear yes. And that can be expressed in words or in actions. But the law that exists now doesn't say that clearly. What it says is there's a whole lot of things that consent isn't, but it doesn't say what it is. Like I say, the UK changed this back 20 odd years ago, and it's high time that we did as well.
Has it made a difference for them?
Well, it's in terms of the overall impact on society, I'm sure it has. In terms of conviction rates, there's not clear evidence around that, because we're not changing the fundamental burden of proof for these cases, as I said, because the consequences are very severe, a maximum penalty of up to 20 years, and so it does require a high burden of proof.
You could ring up Labour today and get something sorted out, so it doesn't have to be if you are re-elected. Why do you want to do that?
We're obviously focused. We've got an extremely busy agenda in the House, and I've got many changes in relation to retail crime and a whole bunch of things that we've been doing, and we're indicating that if we're re-elected, we'll be changing the law in this space. So I'm glad that Labour are supportive of it, and I'm surprised they didn't do it when they were in government.
But I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. What was wrong with the private member's bill that was drafted? We didn't walk away, and I'm not sure what you're suggesting. There's not necessarily wrong things with their legislation. What I'm saying is that a returned national government will, as a government, change the law in this space to modernise our laws relating to consent.
Yesterday, well, today as well, the New Zealand First Party is having their annual conference. It's the 33rd anniversary. Two former national MPs standing as candidates, Alfred and Hariti Kipamo Brownlee. They say that your party, the National Party, has has lost its way, and that's why they've gone over to New Zealand First. Do you have a response to that?
Well, we certainly haven't lost our way, and New Zealand First seems to be collecting people from the past and adding them on, and that's fine, over to them. We're very comfortable with what our brilliant candidates we have, and we're going to do very well.
What did you think of Shane Jones's speech? Did you catch any of
I
it?
must say, I'm afraid I didn't tune in. What did he have to say?
Basically, the Indian migration was going at far too high a rate. That there maybe should be some people going straight on the plane back home, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, look, they've always had a particular focus on that, and they've always been against free trade deals. And actually, if we're going to make a living in this country, we've got to get out in the world and hustle. And that's why we've done a free trade deal with India, and that will provide huge opportunities for New Zealanders. So, yeah, we're pretty serious about that.
New Zealand First has also managed to pick up some former Labour MPs, Stuart Nash, and some Labour Party stalwarts, Katene and Dover Samuels have become members. What's so attractive about New Zealand First?
Well, look, there are former politicians that sometimes want to have another go, and that's fine. And New Zealand First might be a home for them, but we've got a great selection of candidates, and we're going to fight very hard for every party vote this election.
We got to speak to some party members yesterday who used to be national voters, now they're New Zealand First voters. One of the quotes was, "I woke up and now I'm a New Zealand First voter." What's going wrong with the national parties that people are moving over to New Zealand First?
I didn't think New Zealand First were woke, but anyway, there you go. All right, thank you very much.